RPN is not responsible for the views, actions, opinions, or statements of its guests or advertisers. The information on this program is not to be construed as medical or legal advice. An appearance on this show is not to be considered an endorsement, and as always, we encourage you to do your own research. Enjoy the show. Are you guys ready? Hi, baby. Please do me a favor, guys. Don't forget to like and share this broadcast. Help us break through the algorithm. We've got patriots from all across the globe. Blast off. Tonight we're going to be talking with John Mark Dougan, former deputy sheriff from Florida and current asylum seeker in the Russian Federation. You're not going to believe why he had to leave. Well, maybe you will, considering what we talk about on this program. Thank you to everyone who has liked and shared the show. Please, everyone, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. I don't know about everyone, but during this lockdown, many people have started doing a lot of things differently. Their old lives, like a daily commute to the office, just aren't happening. Some of you, I'm sure, don't miss the drive that much. Talking to a lot of people on Zoom, of course, they feel the same way about many things, and they've been recommending apps and favorite TV shows or YouTube channels and other ways of making life better, or at least tolerable. And not just for now, but on an ongoing basis. If you've seen the returns on the stock market since the beginning of the year, since the virus hit, it's very clear that the old ways aren't working too well anymore. The Fed is having to prop up returns. It's pumped trillions of dollars into a system to try to avoid what looks like an inevitable collapse. You can't have 20% unemployment. That's over 26 million jobs. 26 million without massive fallout. You can't spend trillions bailing out businesses with no consequences. Something has to give, and it will. So we have a secure way to guard our wealth, our savings, and our investments. Gold, silver, palladium, and platinum have proven to be safe haven investments. It's the only investment with appreciating value during an economic collapse. If you're interested in securing your wealth, call Noble Gold Investment today at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347, or visit our website, noblegoldinvestments.com. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for sticking around. Joining me tonight is my good friend and associate, John Mark Dougan. John, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm well. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I do appreciate it. You've got quite the wild story. For anybody who may not be familiar with you, give us some background on who you are and how this all got started.
I'm John Mark Dougan. I was a United States Marine for 4 years. I left the Marine Corps, went into private business, and then eventually became a police officer. I worked as a deputy sheriff for the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for 6 years. And in 2009, I left the sheriff's office after blowing the whistle on crimes against people. So
people in general, or a specific group of people, children or adults, both?
No. It was people in general. I was a deputy sheriff. I was assigned to the Belgrade region, and we had a sergeant and his group of guys running around, beating minorities bloody, and then posting their faces, posting the images on Facebook, talking about how they fell down the stairs and all this other stuff.
Now, was that like on their public Facebook pages, or like on like a special Facebook page for sheriff deputies?
No, it was on their it was on their public Facebook pages, but you know they were closed and they were just like their group. They were just deputies.
Sure. Okay. So. Yeah. So in Palm Beach, is that the area of Florida where the whole thing with Jeffrey the billionaire took place? I mean, didn't he live down there?
Yeah, it sure is.
All right. Did you have any actual association with that case prior to leaving the department?
No, I didn't. Now, it was that was the town of Palm Beach. I was Palm Beach County.
Okay.
Now I was in the North Sector, District 3. So my zone actually overlapped. Like Palm Beach County is a big area. Town of Palm Beach is a small area, but the town of Palm Beach was in my zone, even though it was handled by the town of Palm Beach. So every now and then we'd have cases overlapping, like burglaries and stuff, and I would meet up with various town of Palm Beach cops.
How is that decided? How is jurisdiction decided? Like, if you've got, I mean, like, what would it be that you and your boys would go after, and then what would it be that the Palm Beach, the actual city, would go after?
Oh, well, the city would do everything in their town. Okay, we were pretty much leave it alone, but we would provide mutual aid if they needed something. So.
So maybe they've got a big case, they need an assist, you guys would come and help them out?
Sure. Especially if it was something in progress, like maybe they needed like the helicopter because they were looking for somebody running around who just committed a crime.
Sure.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened when you blew the whistle on your fellow officers posting these pictures. How did that go down? Did you go to internal affairs? Did you go public?
Well, no, I kept it at the time what I thought was anonymous, but they tracked it back to me.
Oh yeah.
And I went. So I was Deputy of the Month 2 times in 2008. Mm-hmm. So I went from Deputy of the Month 2 times in 2008 to under 5 internal affairs investigations within like 2 months. I mean, it just painted a huge bullseye on me. And I mean, they were investigating me for anything you could imagine. For instance, there's a policy that you can't get involved in a civil matter. Okay. So we had some lady, a really big lady, her car was getting repossessed and we were just there to stand by. Mm-hmm. Well, she was too large. She was pregnant and just obese. She was too large to go in the back of her car to reach in and pull out her car seat for her child. So I did it for her, and they actually wrote me up for getting involved in a civil matter.
How dare you? How dare you have a heart?
Yeah.
All right. So, what were the other reasons that they went after you? I mean, was it just policy things like that, or did they try to manufacture any crimes against you?
No, they didn't try to manufacture any crimes against me. They just went after me for stupid policy things.
All right. So any little thing that they could potentially get you on. All right.
Yeah.
So once you called into like an anonymous hotline, like was that internal affairs or was that some other?
No, I took I made PDF pages out of their Facebook pages, and I sent them to internal affairs via email. I used a burner email account, but I used it for my dad's company. And they just figured out who it was. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's not cool. I just need to say thank you to Daniel Turgeon. He says, Surrey, BC, Canada, where we go one, we go all. Thank you, guys. And so once that happened, How long was it before you were forced to leave the department?
Oh, I left within 4 months, I think, 3 or 4
Okay.
months.
All right. And
Yeah.
what did you do once you left the department? Did you continue to live there in Palm Beach, or was your life in danger because of what happened?
No, but I did move out of state for about a year, and then I came back, and I just started my own technology company.
Okay. Doing what exactly? Just building websites or doing security?
No, I would make the hardware and software for IP PBX systems. So I designed this really small little box that would carry 20 concurrent telephone calls,
Hmm.
um, and I would sell them to small businesses.
All right. How did you get involved in the situation with Jeffrey the billionaire?
So after I left in 2009, I started a website called PBSO Talk. And back then it was pbsotalk.com until the sheriff's office seized my domain name. Um, but now it's pbsotalk.org, and people can still go and check everything out. Um, but because of this whistleblower website, it was a forum where deputies could go and they could post anonymous happenings in the department without any fear of retaliation. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, and I used to have cops from all over Florida, and actually cops from all over the country calling me up with information and giving me documents and stuff. And they knew that I was somebody who they could trust to keep everything safe, whether it was just for holding or for publication. So I would go ahead and I would publish these documents, and or I would hold on to these documents, and if they wanted them published, they could just call me up and say, "Yeah, publish it." You know.
So somebody connected to the case themselves is who got a hold of you? Was it another police officer, or was it?
Yeah, it was Detective Joe Ricari, and I had known him for uh, quite a number of years as my time as a deputy. And one day I think it was in 2010, early 2010, he gives me a call up, and he's like, "Hey, are you at your house?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna drop by." I was like, "Okay," and it wasn't unusual because I used to have cops, even though I was ousted by the sheriff's office. I mean, I had a huge following by the police officers at this point, and they didn't want to be seen with me.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
for retaliation's sake, because holy Christ, I was hated.
I bet you
I
were
was hated
nuclear.
by the
Yeah.
brass. Um, but they really liked what I did. So he dropped by, and he had a big box. He had a couple of big boxes, and he wanted to know if I could burn a bunch of CDs for him and keep him safe. So, and I really never gave it any thought, at the time. I kind of knew that it was uh, part of the Epstein case,
Hmm.
but I never went poking through it or looked or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay, and he didn't give you any specific ideas of what might be on there. Did he hint at anything that might be contained therein?
Oh, I knew it was surveillance video. I mean,
Okay.
because when I would, yeah. So
Okay. So surveillance video, but not taking a look. All right. How was Detective? You said Riccardi, Detective Riccardi. How was
Ricari.
Ricari? Pardon me. How was he involved in the case? Was he working on it actively,
Yeah,
or?
he was the lead detective.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and he was extremely pissed off at the handling of the case during the time he was working the case,
Mm-hmm.
because the state attorney's office, I mean, they did all sorts of wild stuff, like, because when they'd get a warrant to search his house, he would be tipped off, and the only people that could have tipped him off were the state attorney's office.
Okay.
So
So you had active corruption and stifling of the investigation while it was going on. Now,
yep, that's
uh,
correct.
I've read the book. I believe it's called Filthy Rich, and it's about the situation, the investigation, and it seemed that the directions were coming from the very highest levels. I mean, I'm sure that you heard that the Alexander Acosta came and paid them a visit. At that time, he was I believe he was the state's attorney for Florida. He told them that
he was a district attorney.
District attorney. Okay. Did you ever have any dealings with Alexander Acosta?
No, not that I can ever remember.
Okay, all right. But yes, he came and told them that Jeffrey belonged to intelligence, and so they couldn't go after him, not in the way that they wanted to. So did Detective Ricari ever tell you anything about the case in terms of things that were involved, or?
No, because I mean, look, when I was a cop, I would almost never see him, and I was a cop during during the entire prosecution of Epstein. So, but we would talk as deputies, and we would talk about how absolutely screwed up that the handling was, because we knew from the get-go that it was crazy. And even when the billionaire was on. When he was on, like, I guess you would call it like
work
furlough
release
from jail.
Yes.
And, he was supposed to be watched by deputies. Now, normally there's a system in place where you would watch, like if a deputy wanted to sign up for a detail, he'd go to a page and he'd be like, yeah, I'm interested in this detail, and they pick from a random pool. But it wasn't the case for Epstein, which was very unusual. It was actually unheard of. Because these were hand-picked deputies by the sheriff. And these were people who we knew that would just look the other way.
So guaranteed dirty cops were assigned to watch him.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's not very surprising. I mean, in your experience as an officer, how unusual was it to see the sentence that was handed down to somebody like Jeffrey, given what it was that he was accused of? I mean, that's not something you'd normally see down there in Palm Beach?
No, not to somebody accused of raping numerous children.
Yeah. So that's it's clearly it was not something that people were okay with. I mean, did you and other deputies? I mean, was that something you guys discussed at the time? Hey, this is a travesty of justice.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we wouldn't spend a lot of time discussing it, but yeah, we all knew that it was insane, and I mean, even during our lineups, we would talk about it. So yeah, sure.
Okay. What was the situation like with cops who were on the take? I mean, was there a system in place that people would adhere to? I mean, you see movies like The Departed, and you've got good cops, you've got bad cops. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad, but there seems to be some level of responsibility, and there's the system in place. Was there anything like that down there? Was it very organized?
No. I don't think a lot of cops are on the take. No.
Right.
Maybe some. I mean, you'd hear about. I mean, it's easier. Like if you're an OCB officer, if you bust a drug dealer, just take half his money. And I think that there were probably some cops that did that, but I don't think there's a lot of people just getting outright paid, other than the sheriff.
There you go. Yeah, I don't want to give anyone the impression that I know that most police officers are good people, but my goal is to establish just how much corruption there was down there in Palm Beach. Now, you said the sheriff was getting paid. Now, what do you mean when you say that?
Well, I mean, look, it's really hard to figure out exactly how much and who's paying him, but so the sheriff's office buys its cars, for instance.
Okay.
And they're supposed to get it from a local car dealership, but instead he gets it from a guy by the name of can I say it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and say it.
Okay. a guy by the name of Jim Staluppi,
Okay.
who's who the FBI knows is a money launderer for the Colombo crime family.
Wow.
But this guy, yeah, but this guy owns a bunch of car dealerships up in New York and New Jersey. So what is supposedly happening? Okay, and I've been trying to uncover the evidence on this for years, but they block it at every turn. Um, is he's buying the cars from these dealerships up there at a higher price, and then that money is going to the Palm Beach County Police Benevolent Association, okay, the PBA, which is a private organization. Okay, so it can't be audited
Hmm.
by Joe taxpayer. The money is getting put into an account, and the sheriff has his own credit card for just using as he wants. Yeah, so it's a very nefarious system.
So, okay, let me get this straight. So, how? What about the process for making sure that money is being spent properly? If even if the money is going into the Police Benevolent Association, isn't there any kind of accounting leading up to that? I mean, I would imagine the reason I'm asking because it seems like if he's overpaying for cars out of state, I would think somebody has to know about that. And what's going on?
Nobody will audit him. He's exempted himself from the Ethics Commission of Palm Beach County. He's he's told them, "I will not answer to you," and all the politicians of Palm Beach County are scared of this guy. And I mean, you can even look on my website. He bought 3 barbecue grills for $90,000. I have the documentation on there.
You got the receipts?
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
this is a crook.
That's incredible. Now, who would the sheriff answer to? I mean, who would be above him?
Nobody.
I can't believe that. Okay. How does the
Sure.
hierarchy? I mean, it must be true, but I'm just stunned to know that that's how it works.
Yeah.
And is that normal? Is that how sheriff's departments work? I mean, you've got them running the county level, and then there's no state authority overlooking them.
Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I guess technically he'd have to answer to the governor, but the governor doesn't get involved in these matters.
Sure.
And this is probably one of the most powerful sheriffs in the entire country because he's got in just the size of Palm Beach County, he's got over a $500 million budget.
It's quite a
So
bit.
there is a guy. I wish I could remember his name. It's on my website, but he's a very prominent law enforcement officer, and he was doing his own audit and found a missing $18 million from the technology budget of Palm Beach County. So he tried to report it. It got kicked away by the Ethics Commission. So he decided to run against the sheriff. Well, while he was on stage announcing his candidacy, he got arrested by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office for charges that were found to be made up and later dropped.
What happened as a result of that? Was the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office held accountable for that?
No.
No. That's just incredible.
Do you know how hard it is to hold a police department accountable for false arrest?
No.
It's nearly impossible.
And why is that? Just because of the way the system is set up? I mean, what about
Yeah.
places like internal affairs?
You're kidding, right?
I'm a noob with this with this subject,
Yeah,
so please.
no. There was the sheriff had one of his friends, a lieutenant, who got caught stealing guns and pain pills off the table of a man, another cop who was dying of terminal cancer, and so this cop, this lieutenant, will go to this guy's house every day and steal the pain meds off his dresser. And he got caught, and the sheriff went down to internal affairs and told them to make it go away, and it did.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that is crazy. Georgia Patriot said, just south of Palm Beach County, Broward County, rest in peace, federal prosecutor Barrington J. Wisnett Jr., rest in peace, County Deputy Jason Fitzsimmons, rest in peace, Broward County Deputy Marshall Peterson. Obviously, the Debbie Wasserman Schultz district down there in Broward has had quite a bit of corruption themselves. During your time at Palm Beach, did you have any interactions with Broward County and Scott Israel?
No, because I was on the north end of Palm Beach County, so I never had any interaction with the guys from Broward. Now, that being said, there was a short time. It was before Scott Israel. The sheriff before him got indicted on federal charges for corruption as well.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, how unusual was it when the new mayor, or excuse me, the new governor? I'm drawing a blank on his name. He used to be in Congress.
DeSantis?
Yes, Ron DeSantis. Yes. How unusual was it that Ron DeSantis came in and had Scott Israel removed from Broward County?
Well, he wasn't the governor when I was there.
Okay. Well, I mean, this just happened recently. I'm just saying, in general, you said that the governor tends to not get involved in a local issue like that. But
yeah,
did you find that interesting that Ron DeSantis had Scott Israel removed?
Oh, well, I'm embarrassed to tell you, but I didn't even know about it.
It's okay. It's okay. It just happened in the last year. So, all right. I mean, it's a pretty big deal in my book. It's the first time I've heard of anything like that happening, and I was really hoping that it would be a major move in terms of fighting corruption in Florida and I mean, maybe show a message to other corrupt, higher level.
That would be good. Yeah, but generally that doesn't happen, so it is surprising.
Okay. All right, pretty interesting. What kind of stuff did you help uncover running your website? I mean, do you have like a couple of interesting ones that people brought to you?
Yeah, well, there's the whole barbecue grill.
Yeah, that's huge. 18 million. Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's $90,000.
$90,000 for 3 grills.
Wow.
Now, granted, these grills were so large they had to be towed behind pickup trucks.
Oh.
And yeah,
like commercial grills. Like commercial grills.
Yeah, and he bought them to use at his re-election campaign, and he bought them for the PBA to use. And actually, one of the first times they were used to cook steak and lobster. Ooh. For a PBA fundraiser.
Nice little surf and turf.
Yeah. They had a whole barbecue unit. Can you believe it?
A barbecue unit?
5 deputies. 5 deputies assigned to the barbecue unit. They got big F-350 dualies to drive around.
Yeah.
And these are on top of the cost of the barbecue grills.
Oh, that's insane. That's quite the detail.
Yeah. Let's see. He bought gold-plated guns. I think it was like 40 gold-plated guns.
Wow.
As gifts. Yeah. Now, it's interesting. Your viewers should go on to pbsotalk.org and just kind of Google about Costa Rica, because there's a whole bunch of deputies, like high-ranking deputies, that go to Costa Rica to have sex with
underage.
Yeah,
that's disgusting. How many are you talking? When you say there's several, I mean, how many officers are you talking about?
Probably, 20 or 30 that I know of.
And does that spread out over a number of departments, or is that all from a single point?
This was from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office.
This is Palm Beach County. Okay, well, all right.
Coincidental, right?
Yeah, very coincidental.
Let me tell you something. If I was a man like the billionaire, I'm getting the hang of it. If I was a man like the billionaire, and I wanted to keep law enforcement in check, I would get them to engage in crimes against children.
Absolutely.
On video. And if I was ever arrested, I would be like, well, you better make this go away, or else
Yeah.
you're going to be implicated as well.
Yeah.
So,
Spend the rest of
and
your
that,
life in prison.
yeah, and that's why I think he only got a year, and why the terms were so sweet. That's why.
You know, it's not surprising considering the nature of the allegations and what we know of the blackmail scheme that's used by the deep state, you know, in Washington and state and local levels. Not surprised, but I am shocked because I have to be honest, that is not something that I even considered. You know, for me, just thinking about the fact that they told him to leave him alone, you know, saying he belongs to intelligence. I mean, you know, I stopped thinking about it at that point right there. I'm ashamed to say. But it does not. It's just really shocking to see that there are that many officers engaging in this.
Yeah.
Oh man. Now, what about in terms of things like that locally? I mean, did you ever come across officers that you knew engaging in acts like that locally?
No.
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 Okay. All right. Well, that
If
makes.
I had, I would have arrested him.
Okay. All right. What would happen to you if you would have tried to arrest somebody, if you caught someone engaging in, and not necessarily that, but if you found somebody engaging in criminal activity and you tried to address it, what would have happened?
There'd be blowback for sure. I guess it just matters on who that person is. If they were a friend of, we call them FOGs, friends of Gauger.
What is that? Was that the sheriff?
Well, the sheriff was Bradshaw, but his chief deputy was Michael Gauger, and he was like also incredibly powerful in Palm Beach County. So you know, all his friends would always walk. His son got arrested from a different department, and I have the police report online on my website. But if you call the West Palm Beach Police Department with that case number, they say it doesn't exist.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah. His son got drunk and beat a minority police officer. He just like, hey man, and got belligerent and started calling this guy the N-word and started attacking him, and that report went away.
No repercussions. How well known was Jeffrey the billionaire to people in law enforcement when you were there?
Well, like my department, we didn't go on the island very much, so we didn't really know the residents.
Okay.
I don't think I had ever heard of him until his arrest.
All right. And then once he was arrested, I mean, what was the chatter?
In regards to what?
Well, I mean, a billionaire gets arrested, you know, in your county. You know, I would think that, you know, people might be talking about it. They might discuss it.
Well, we were talking about the very favorable conditions he was receiving by the sheriff and the state attorney.
Okay. All right. Well, what happened with that information that the detective gave to you from that case?
So I had it on my computers for years, and I never gave it any thought whatsoever. And in 2016, my home was raided by the FBI, and they took all my computers, and obviously they went through everything. And I still never gave it any thought. But it just so happens that I had a hard drive that I hid. Now, my wife at the time, she was the executive assistant to the elected public defender of Palm Beach County.
Okay.
So I had given her a hard drive in late 2015 just to keep at her office, like an offsite backup. And this was like that information I had. It was just like everything that I had from my websites and documents and stuff from these people, from these cops over the years. And so she kept it. And then the FBI raided my house in 2016. And obviously I snuck out of the country in a wig. And
that was going to be a question. Let me just say thank you to Claudette Petchert. Thank you to Rook Castle. She says, rest in peace, Ahmaud Arbery. I've only just briefly heard about that case. Stacy3610 says, what about Pam Bondi? black hat or white hat. Rumors of Bondi being involved with the crimes against children rings. Any thoughts on Pam Bondi? I have not myself seen any credible evidence to actually suggest that Pam Bondi is involved in those things, but I know that
No, I don't think so.
you don't think so.
I mean, I don't really like her.
Okay.
Um, I think she covers up a lot of stuff, but I don't think she actively engages anything.
Okay. And what is she right now? She's the Attorney General in Florida?
Yeah, I think she's been the
Yeah.
attorney general for last I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems that if there is a fair amount of corruption in a state, there's got to be like a hierarchy to the organized criminality of it. So, I mean, I have heard a lot of people, speculating on things about Pam Bondi like that.
Well, you don't have to be involved in a crime just to say, we're not investigating these people.
Mm-hmm.
You
So,
know?
I mean, is that something that happens often? I mean, you would imagine that police take the evidence and then they follow it to its logical conclusion. I mean, this is like
No, they don't.
no.
They
Okay.
blow stuff. Yeah, they blow stuff off all the time. And in fact, the last complaint that I made, I mean, I have like a detective that was hired at the sheriff's office specifically to investigate political enemies of the sheriff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I have hours and hours of audio about this guy bragging how the sheriff brought him back to destroy people's lives and to go through everything they can to just find any reason to arrest people, even if the charges are dropped later.
How did you get that
And
audio?
I ran my voice through a voice changer and pretended I was a woman. I knew this detective had a contracting job on the side, so I called him up, posing as a wealthy Wall Street heiress looking to buy a renovated house, and just got this guy to fall in love with me. And yeah, and so much so that I convinced him to buy $119,000 worth of stock based on a fake stock tip.
Did he
That I
actually
gave.
complete the purchase?
Yeah, I have the receipt and everything.
Man.
Yeah.
Somebody said
So
our voices are both off sync. If the voices are off sync and you're the first person to say that, try refreshing your browser because we are broadcasting in 60 frames per second, full 1080p. It should be good to go. Let's see. Mike Q says, sending you all light and love. Thank you, and keep light on the target. God bless you all. Thank you, Mike. Red Pills Warhawk says, I wish my wrench was a tomahawk. That would be really cool if we could go ahead and do that. All right. So, well, do you want to, I'd like to know the story of why you were raided. Why did the FBI come after you?
Well, that's a good question. It could be for a number of reasons, because
Just
I,
list them.
I have to say I started getting pretty controversial at the end.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, I found out from these recordings from this detective that they were illegally accessing all my social media
You mean like
accounts and
hacking
my.
it?
Yeah, well, what they would do is they would go get they would just type up like an emergency letter
Mm-hmm.
saying that we have a detrimental case, we need his email and password for Facebook. And they would send this to the legal department, and they would send them a fax back to the with the username and password.
Does that happen often?
It happens all the time.
Wow.
No subpoena required. Nothing. No judge oversight. Nothing.
That's insane.
So
That's
yeah,
absolutely insane. I had no idea.
yeah. So they can do this to you, and they were doing it to me. They even accessed my cloud account, and the guys on there saying, you know, we knew who he was with, and we were looking at his photos before he even published them. And I mean, I was just like, I was so angry. I mean, you can't hear it in maybe you can hear it in my voice on the recordings, like, but what I did is I compromised the Florida voter registration system in 2016. A hack that was blamed on the Russians, no less.
I remember when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it was me. I published 14,000 names of confidential police officers, judges, FBI agents, CIA agents. I posted them all on my website because I took these recordings to the FBI, and the FBI told me to F off, that they weren't going to investigate. And I said, okay, if my privacy isn't sacred to you, then your privacy is not sacred to me. And I published all of this.
Now,
and
the manner in which you were able to extract that information, I mean, was that technically illegal, what you did?
I don't think so, but I don't know. It's probably a pretty gray area.
Okay.
I actually, on my YouTube channel, because a lot of people still think it's the Russians, and I wanted to give them absolute proof that it was me. So I take the data on my YouTube channel, I write the code, and I show everybody exactly how I did it.
Okay.
So they can see it for themselves. So, you know, it's probably not a very interesting video unless you're a technical person.
I've got
but
some.
It is a very interesting video.
I've got some code guys here. They'd probably be interested in it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just the way that the public record system works in Florida. You can actually extrapolate that data if you know what you're looking for.
Do you want to explain it to us briefly? I mean, how that would happen?
So what happens is when you go and you become a voter in Florida, you register. Usually, most people register through the driver's license bureau. So you go in, you get your driver's license, and you fill out 2 forms, one for your license and one for voter registration. And if you're a confidential record, you fill out a 3rd form that says, I'm a confidential record. So they immediately hold your data from the driver's license system. And then this information goes to the voter registration system. They put in your information into the voter registration system. So the first month, you might see like a voter ID number 1234, John Mark Dougan, for instance. But the second month, they get this form that you're confidential, and they change everything to a bunch of asterisks. Okay? So, so if you go ahead and you download every single month, okay, and you got to remember there's 24 million rows of data for every single dump. So it does take a long time to process. But if you download this, like, and then you
like put it into a spreadsheet and.
Well, no, you can't use a spreadsheet. Sorry,
SQL or something.
Yeah, I use SQL. But you know, I was processing you know, over 500 million rows of data just to find 2 numbers, that one with the voter ID number with the name and one with the voter ID number with an asterisk, match them up together, and then discard the one with the asterisks, and only to output the name and address and phone number.
Okay, all right. Well, what was the process that you were able to get the information out of that database? I mean, did you have to physically hack in? I mean, did you go, you know, do it like people would think of a hacker?
No.
No.
And in fact, most hacking isn't actually hacking at all. It's just finding vulnerabilities. And this was a vulnerability in data that's freely downloaded. Anybody can download it.
All right, so the fact that you were able to get that information is not the problem. It's the fact that you were able to correlate it and over a period of time match the hidden information up with the previously published information.
That's correct.
All right, all right. So again, this information is available for download for anyone. So is this like the information they would use or that they would hand off to, like, say, a political candidate who is running? You want a list of eligible voters, so you're given that public information? Okay. All right. Let me see. Red Pills Warhawk, thank you again. Floricio says, sending love from crazy NYC. I think with God's help and Trump's courage, we will be the generation to bring down and destroy the Vax Big Pharma. This quarantine has forced us to do our own research. Yeah, I totally think you're right, Flor. This is something I've talked about before. I think that so many people have seen what has been done to our country. And they can tell that the Dems, they are only interested in destroying America because they want to destroy President Trump and then by proxy also destroy us. They're willing to do anything to get that accomplished. And, I don't know anybody who's been afflicted by CV-19 and certainly don't know anyone who's passed away. Obviously, I've gotten anecdotal reports of people who were sick, but it is not what they're purporting it to be. I went today. I went to go get some food for the first time in a long time, left my house, and there was a testing center that was set up at a local hospital. It was completely empty. There was no one outside manning it. There was one person sitting in a car, just had it running, waiting for somebody to show up. Nobody showed up. I asked the guy at the taco cart, I said, hey, how about this testing center? Has it been pretty busy? And he said, no. And I said, in the time that it's been in operation, have you seen a single person come in there to ask for a test? And he said, no, not a single person. So It begs the question, what is it then? It's actually about the election. It's not about safety and security of the public. It's not about public health. It's about the election.
I agree with you 100%. I've done several videos on this. I ended up with it, actually.
Yeah. And how was that? How long were you sick for?
A couple of weeks.
All right. Did it seem to be anything more than, a bad flu or, pneumonia? Was it something different?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, obviously people are dying from it, but I think not nearly in the quantity that they want you to believe.
No.
I think hospitals are getting money for saying that people are dying of coronavirus.
Yeah.
Excuse me, of the virus.
It's all right.
And I think so.
Well, I want to talk about what it's like in Russia here, but I want to know first, how long was it after you were raided by the FBI? Well, first of all, how long were you in jail when they raided you?
Oh, I wasn't in jail.
Oh, they never put you in jail. Okay.
No, they didn't have any charges to hold me.
Okay.
Now, that was the first thing I was involved in. The second thing I was involved in, the night before the raid happened, I received documents about the DNC that were sent to me on Wicker.
Okay.
I was using Wicker at the time, which now I don't trust Wicker because there's no way anybody could have known I was talking to this individual in Washington, D.C. that worked for the DNC. It's very strange because the night before I was raided, I had I got these documents.
Can you tell us? Can you tell us what those documents were from the DNC?
I can't because I only looked at a couple of them and then I went to sleep.
Okay.
Next thing I know, my house was getting raided. I had 45 FBI agents there, taking computers, doing things to my house. Now they didn't have charges to hold me, but they were looking for Bad Wolf, a supposed Russian hacker. Yeah. So it was kind of comical.
So, but, do you think that you were set up by the person that that passed you the information, or do you think that they were just monitoring you, and so they knew that there was going to be something there potentially they could grab?
No, I wasn't set up by the person.
Okay. Okay.
Because I think the person's dead.
Okay.
So.
All right. Can you tell us? Can you tell us who that person was, or do you know their name?
I can't say with 100% certainty.
Okay.
But let me tell you this. After my home was raided, okay, that weekend I rented a car. I shook any FBI tails that I had, rented a car under my Aunt Pat's name, and I drove straight to Washington, D.C. I got a duplicate of all the data. I drove straight back to Florida. I did all this in 2 days. And it was, I met the guy at 2 a.m. in the neighborhood where Seth Rich was killed. So.
Okay. All right. And you've had no further contact with this individual, or, I mean, I
had a little contact afterwards.
Okay.
I took the drive. I escaped out of the country, made it to Russia, and I set up a server for these documents. I did another video, on this on my website, but I set up a server for the documents and some emails, and I gave them access. There were 5 different people, 4 or 5 different people,
okay,
that had access to the server, and then I lost touch, and then I found out later, several months later, that the guy that I suspect was the one that gave me the information was found shot and killed.
Okay. All right. What was the name of the website that you put up?
I didn't actually put up the website.
Okay.
I put up the server that was initially used for DC leaks.
DC leaks. Okay. I remember DC leaks. I don't know if you guys do, but I remember when that whole thing went down. So the server was set up in Russia. I remember.
No. It was set up. It was a server droplet.
Okay.
That I rented from a company called Shinjiru. I've been using them since 2010. A very obscure Malaysian hosting company. That I actually had PBSO Talk hosted on at one point in time. So, and I used the same company, but they were out of Malaysia.
Okay. All right. So the people that actually made the website and put the information on it, do you know who they are?
Not specifically, but I can tell you that I am 90% sure that one of them works for either the U.S. Cyber Command or what's the other one? The NSA.
Okay. All right.
Because there was a login on the server that came from an IP address. Now, usually people would use a proxy.
Sure.
I guess somebody screwed up. They signed in. They didn't use a proxy. The IP address came from Fort Meade, Maryland.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason I asked if it was hosted in Russia is because there was several mainstream media stories talking about DC Leaks, calling it a Russian propaganda site, saying that it was owned and operated by the Russian government. But to the best of your knowledge, that was not true. It was not true.
Crap. No, because all these people were native English speakers.
Okay.
So
I just had to let my dog in, John. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sure.
She was scratching at the door. I need to say thank you to Valerie Parakin. The guy you met was one of his initials, S or R.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Not 100% sure. I never asked him for identification.
Okay.
It was 2 or 3 in the morning, and it was dark. So
now, what date what was the date and time in correlation to the date and time that Seth lost his life?
Oh, it was quite a while before, and I would have met this guy in March, I think March 19th of 2016.
Okay.
March 20th, 2016.
All right, and John, somebody's asking what that black thing is on your neck. Is that your wireless mic?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Somebody was asking in the chat. I just saw. JK says, "Who were the cops that played golf with the girls of the night?"
So that's another one of the big stories that my website broke. Major Robert Van Reef, the head of internal affairs, was on a golf course with his underage son and a naked prostitute.
Oh, man.
As well as his cousin from West Palm Beach Police Department, and I think another one of his cousins from the PBA, and the bartender slash photographer who took these pictures said that this prostitute was doing blow in between the holes. She was snorting.
Sure.
So,
all right.
Unbelievable.
Somebody in the chat thinks that you're lying. I just want to go on record here. What do you have to gain from exposing the corruption for other people, or for stating that you may or may not have met Seth and you set up the server? I mean, are you being paid to put this information out? Have you made a career out of these claims?
Look, I'm like about ready to lose my apartment.
Okay.
I've absolutely gained absolutely nothing. The only thing I've done is lost everything in my entire life, including my children. So,
okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, so tell us then about getting out of the country. I mean, you said that they didn't have any charges to hold you. So were they about to charge you with something?
Yeah. So I have at least 2 surveillance teams that I know that were watching me.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a marina. I was going to rent a boat and try to make it to Cuba. I didn't have a lot of money, so I made an agreement with this guy that he would just collect the insurance money on the boat. Yeah, so it was
You're desperate.
it was an 18-foot boat. I was sleeping on it under a jacket that I had. And at 4 in the morning, I woke up. I couldn't sleep. I was very nervous. I went to the bathroom at this marina, like Bud and Mary's Marina, I think it was called,
mm-hmm.
in the Keys. And what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I went to take a shower.
Mm-hmm.
And on my way back, I decided to take a little walk. And during my walk, there was a Tahoe parked behind a building with surveillance equipment in the back. And the guy jumped out, like, to block the view. I mean, it was very dark tint, but I could, in the middle of the night, you can still see the glow coming out.
Of course.
And this guy's like, "Oh, how you doing? I'm just going fishing." Dude, he couldn't tell me the name of the boat. He couldn't tell me what kind of fish he was going to catch. Now, the guy didn't look like an FBI agent, but I knew he was. And I abandoned that plan, and I had to figure out another way to get out of the country because I was on the TSA's no-fly list. So I couldn't get an airplane ticket, nothing. So what I wound up doing is I drove to New York. I put on a wig at the mall. It's hard to. The story is a little hard to tell you, but I went to my mom's house. I got a change of clothing, a pair of glasses, and a wig, and put everything into a bag. I went to the mall, and I went in one entrance, and I just kind of went around to various stores to make sure I wasn't being followed.
Mm-hmm.
I went into a dressing room, put on a wig and some glasses and a hat, and I changed all my clothes, and I went out a different entrance. And I had somebody leave a car for me on the north side of the mall, opposite where I came in. Got into this car, drove north, and I went and I rented a small Cessna 172. Now, here's the thing. If you fly over Canada from the U.S. and you land back in the U.S., you don't need TSA approval.
Mm-hmm.
It's only if you're going to land in this country. So I plotted out exactly where I was going to go. When we got over these coordinates, I told the pilot I think I was having a heart attack.
Okay.
I said, "Oh, I'm having another heart attack," and yeah.
Why not make it a second?
Yeah. We made an emergency landing in this small little airstrip in Canada. Uh, and as soon as we landed, I grabbed my bag, I threw this guy some cash, and I said, "Dude, you better get the hell out of here before customs comes, because they're going to start asking questions." And I mean, this guy was pissed. Obviously,
So,
I don't blame him.
what kind of an airport was this that you were able to land and then run away? I mean, was it a small airstrip? How
Oh,
far
a
from?
small strip. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Small, uncontrolled airfield.
All right, and how long did you have to walk until you were able to get someplace where you could get food and shelter?
Oh, well, I cut through the woods, probably about 3 miles through the woods. Actually, I have a nasty scar that won't heal on the back of my head from running through the woods and hitting a tree branch. But uh, and then I was able to take a bus into Toronto.
Okay. Once you
Yeah,
got to
so
Toronto, how did you get to Russia?
well, Toronto, they don't use the TSA's no-fly list, so I was able to get a ticket from Toronto on Turkish Airlines
Okay.
to Moscow with a 1 hour layover in Istanbul.
Were you able to say goodbye to your kids before you left?
No,
Oh man.
I wanted to. I left Easter Day. It was the last day I was there, but I knew that if I went to see my kids, that the FBI was probably watching.
Of course. Of course. All right. So, what happened when you landed in Russia?
Oh, I was so thankful. I took the express train to Kievskaya, and I called this girl that I was dating here, and I said, "Hey, I just got to Kievskaya Mall. Can you come get me?" And of course, she was shocked. I said, "I'm like, well, I couldn't tell anybody before I came, because I was being watched." So, but I stayed with her for a few days. And found a really, really cheap apartment because I landed with $600. And then I started, I started writing MBA and PhD dissertations for people for money.
Whatever you can do. Whatever you can do.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. What about the process of applying for asylum?
Oh, so that was difficult. It really was. I mean, I had to give them all this documentation to show that I was in fear. And the first time it wasn't enough, so it got rejected. Right? Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this guy's being used as Russian propaganda." That wasn't the case, because it took me a year to get my asylum.
Okay. So you have asylum right now?
I do,
You
yeah.
do. Okay. All right. Well, this is a fascinating story. We've got so much more to talk about, but we've got our first caller on the line. Guys, I'm opening up the phone lines so you can call in and ask John questions yourself. If you do doubt anything he's saying, you're welcome to call in and ask him any questions you like. I'm going to put the Zoom link into the chat. If you want to call in, the phone number is on the screen. Don't forget to dial *67 if you don't want your phone number to pop up. If you are using a Zoom account, I would suggest changing your name if you don't want people to know your name, because it will show up, and I can change it once you're in the room. But there's, people are going to see it, guys. So I just want to put that fair warning out there. Please do give us a call, and we can speak with John Mark Dougan about this incredible story. Very interesting. Our first caller is my good friend of the program. His name is Group C. He's going to be here any second. I need to say thank you to Jay Britz. Jay Britz says, "God bless you, John. Thank you for your service, both foreign and domestic. Stay safe."
Thank you.
Yeah. Have you had any contact with the FBI or the U.S. government since going to Russia?
So about 4 months ago, I got a call, and this was, when was this? This was yeah, I did
Okay.
get a call. Right after MI6 told the Times of London that I had the Epstein videos.
Okay.
I got a call from the U.S. State Department saying that they were revoking my passport.
Oh.
And then, every now and then I'll write the FBI investigator that was chasing me, just kind of letting them know how incompetent they are and what fools they made of themselves. So,
Do they understand, I mean, your history? I mean, have you ever like had a detailed conversation with them? I mean, are they aware of any of that, or do you think they even care?
no, they don't care.
Okay, all right.
If anything, they just want to stop the bleeding, the information from coming out.
All right. So you believe that they are interested in making sure that you don't release anything incriminating or anything that's going to make the Bureau look bad?
Yeah, because look, they have this exact same videos. They thought they took them from me. Now, in 2017.
Hey! 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 Sorry. You guys! Jesus!
Wow. So in 2017, my wife put that hard drive in a suitcase for me. I'll just tell the story. Sorry about that. Oh.
Holy jeez. Okay. You guys, I'm so sorry. That was very scary. Chi-Chi and Muffin got into a fight just below me, and I couldn't get in the midst of them. That was the worst one ever. Okay, all right.
I had a dog named Muffin, by the way.
That's cool. She's normally a very good dog.
Yeah. So what I was saying, and I'll just talk so you can catch your breath.
Go ahead.
In 2017, my wife stuck this hard drive that she had saved for me in a suitcase and sent it to me in Russia. Now the FBI didn't find out about this until 2019. And they interviewed her about it in at this time. So what motivation? How would MI5 or MI6 find out about this hard drive in these videos?
Of course,
the only reason they could have possibly known is if the FBI told them. And why would the FBI tell them? Because the FBI looked through these videos, saw who was on it, and saw that there must have been a prominent British person. And so they alerted the MI5 or MI6 about it. That's the only reason the FBI would have shared this information with them.
All right. I have something I want to follow up with you on that, but we've got Group C on the line. Group C.
Hey, Red Pill.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. How you doing? You all right there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm a little shook up. My heart's still pounding. I can't even believe it. I bet you RDoc has already clipped that out. Okay. What's your question? What's your question for John?
John, so how do you communicate in Russia? Do you speak Russian?
Very bad. Very bad. Usually I use Google Translate, but most of the people here speak English, so.
Oh, how convenient. How good is the Google Translate over there? Or with their language?
What? Like Google Translate?
Yeah, is it pretty effective? Does it make many mistakes? Or are the mistakes minimal?
So it's interesting. When I speak here, and actually sometimes you'll notice that my English isn't quite normal. I've had people tell me this, but now I speak in a way that Google Translate understands, that can translate it more properly into Russian. So it turns out that we use a lot of expressions and sayings that don't translate properly into Russian. And the same thing with Russians, they use a lot of different expressions that have no translation into English. So I've kind of over the last 4 years figured out how to say things into Google Translate so it can speak Russian. But I can hold small conversations in Russian. Like I can order food, and I can go to the grocery store and buy groceries and stuff. So I'm not like totally clueless, but like any real conversations, I'm just lost.
Group C, I just want to ask him, can you give us an example of something that you would now say differently so that it would translate properly into Russian?
I mean, not that I can think of.
Okay, all right.
I tend to not use so many expressions, and I'm more explanatory when I speak.
Okay.
I guess that's, yeah.
Thank you, for the super chat. Yeah. Group C, do you have any other questions for John?
Yeah, just one more.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So are you a Q follower? I'm sure you know about this whole Great Awakening movement, right?
I am not necessarily. No, I can't say that I am. I don't. Yeah,
okay.
I'm kind of in my own little world here. I'm just trying to survive. I don't have a lot of time to be watching things and reading a bunch of stuff. You know, now I kind of lost my consulting job because of coronavirus. And I'm spending 18 hours a day working just to try to figure out how to make money so I can stay in my apartment. So, but it's been like that. It's been a struggle ever since I got here. People think that I get money from the Russian government. I don't get anything from anybody. And if I don't work, I'm going to be homeless sleeping behind the McDonald's on Tverskaya Street. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there so the next caller can call in. But thank you, John, for your time. And Red Pill.
Oh, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to be on your show, Red Pill.
Hey, brother. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night, too.
You too. Okay. So what is... You're saying that obviously things are not going well necessarily because of the CV-19 situation. What has it been like there? Did they lock down society and halt the economy in the same way that they did here?
No, it's not nearly as extensive as it is there, and everything's available here. You can go to the grocery store. We got plenty of meat, plenty of toilet paper. People are working from home, but I was working for a U.S. company, a debt collection company.
Okay.
Actually a repo company, but they can't repo cars now, so I got laid off.
Okay.
And that's a big problem for me. So interestingly enough, not too long after I got hired there, the FBI paid them a little visit with 10 agents.
Wait, say that again?
Interestingly, after they started paying me,
Yep,
to do IT consulting, the FBI showed up knocking on their door with 10 federal agents.
This is at their American location?
Yeah.
Okay. My friend Charles Pixley had just asked in the chat, why do you think you're still being tracked? I would say that that's a pretty good sign that you are right there.
That is a good sign. They showed up with 5 agents and 5 U.S. Marshals asking where I was, what they were doing with me, why they were paying me.
Mm-hmm.
And they just gave them their business card and said, if you have any questions, just contact our attorney.
Wow.
And then they didn't hear him after that. But they've tried extraditing me 2 times out of Russia, and both times Russia's told them to go pound sand.
How does that extradition process work? I mean, do they go to like the Russian State Department, or do they contact local law enforcement?
So I guess there's an FBI liaison that meets with the FSB liaison.
Okay.
But they said, look, this guy has asylum. You can't touch him.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. My next guest. Go ahead.
Oh, this is interesting.
Okay.
There's no extradition treaty between Russia and the United States, but I was actually arrested here.
Okay.
On my Interpol warrant because they do cooperate with Interpol.
Okay.
So as an Interpol member, if I have a warrant out for my arrest, they have to arrest me. But it took them 4 hours to clear up that I had asylum.
All right. What are the charges through Interpol?
It was so this is interesting. I don't exactly know what the FBI has, but the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office has me on 19 counts of audio recording of that deputy.
Okay. All right.
Remember I told you I got the romantic relationship with the deputy?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wanted on 19 counts of that, and I can spend 95 years in prison for it.
What are the laws on recording phone conversations in Florida? I mean, is it that both parties have to
consent?
What? No consent?
All parties have to consent.
All parties have to consent. Okay. All right. Well, Aaron, thank you for calling in, buddy. Good to see you.
You're welcome. Great to see you too. Great show.
Thank you.
Great guest. Wow, how exciting. That must have been so scary. Wow.
Well,
I can't even imagine.
I didn't sleep for 3 weeks when I was trying to get out of the country. 3 weeks. I was just a basket case.
Eating grasshoppers and such, I bet.
No, but I did sleep in a ditch filled with 2 inches of water.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could bring myself to eat a grasshopper. I've never been in that situation, but
If your life's on the line, you could do a lot more than you think you could.
I mean, I'm a camper and a hiker, so I could identify like berries and, like edible plants and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, I suppose you're right, John. If I had to do it, then I might. I mean, I've heard they taste like peanut butter. I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to try, but
do they have big grasshoppers in Russia? I mean, it's a cold climate, right?
Well, you got to remember, Russia's 4 times the landmass of the U.S.
Right.
It's 11 time zones, and it's taller than the United States is wide. So you have desert, you have all these different climates,
Mm-hmm.
But most of it's cold, yeah.
Okay. Man, I can't even imagine being in that situation. Wow.
Terrible. How close are you to Snowden? Do you guys get together and play cards every now and then?
That would be cool. But I think he's living maybe 40 kilometers away from me. I don't think he actually lives in Moscow. So, but I don't know. I've never met him. I don't know where he lives. I knew nothing about the man.
So when you go out at night, do you paint the town red? I don't know, just.
Yes, I do. And let me tell you, in almost every city I've ever been to in Russia, they have a killer nightlife. So Moscow is absolutely insane for the nightlife. On my channel, you can there's a video of us going to Kazan. You have to watch that. Check out the nightlife. The girl to guy ratio is extremely high here.
Is that why we constantly hear about Russian brides?
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, not necessarily Russian brides, but beautiful Russian women. And because all the guys, like over the years, they've been killed off in all the wars, right?
Right.
So what happens, you have a few guys and a huge pool of women that they get to pick from. And these few guys get to pick the most beautiful women, breed, and make these beautiful babies. And they grow up to be more beautiful women. And this
beautiful
is why,
people.
Yeah, this is why you have such incredibly beautiful women here in Russia. I have my adorable girlfriend over here who's beautiful. Yeah.
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah.
Well, at least you have love, even if you don't have anything else.
I do have love. Yeah, she does love me, even though I'm poor.
Well, it's not about the money, so that's good to hear.
That's right.
How about a parting joke?
Go ahead.
If you're Russian in the kitchen, what are you in the bathroom?
I don't
know. Pooping?
European.
European.
There you go. All right, Aaron. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you for your courage, sir.
Hey, thanks, Aaron.
We'll talk to you soon. All right. Let me see. I need to say thank you to Liberty Thunder. Syllabor says, my whole house is shaken up from the Little Muffin and Chi-Chi's fight. I had the TV turned way up. I know. I'm so sorry. I knew I screamed. There's nothing I could do. I'm so sorry, guys. Hope they're okay after that. Yeah. Chi-Chi appears to be just fine, and Muffin's a lot bigger than him. So,
oh no.
Social Distancing Observer says, do you believe some of the footage on these Jeffrey tapes could be the same stuff on the Wiener laptop? Any ideas?
Don't know. I've seen 7 videos out of all of that footage. Now, in earlier this year, a guy by the name of Ron Chesepiak came here on a different project, and Actually, it was late last year. Sorry.
Okay.
And he was here when the Times wrote that story. It was absolutely insane. And the last day he was here, we decided to just take 7 videos at random and just kind of see what was in them, because I had actually never looked at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty disturbing stuff.
Okay.
And in fact, there's one person that I can reasonably, with any reasonable certainty, I can identify, and I'm going to make a video about that. On Monday, I'll release it.
All right.
Because I have to do like a screenshot. I have to cut everything out, and I
Sure.
have to kind of put everything into context, so that and I have to figure out how I'm going to do it without YouTube canceling my channel, because this person happened to be a very powerful person. I think maybe we had discussed this at one point in time.
Yeah. We had talked about the possibility of who it could be. Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody in the chat, if you want to go ahead and check out that expose on Monday, go ahead and subscribe. Liberty Thunder, thank you very much. Casey Anon says, can you describe what is in the big Jeffrey videos? What is this charge that the FBI is looking for you on? So we got those 2 answers right there. This is quite literally surveillance footage of people, either most likely at Palm Beach, at his compound from Palm Beach.
I don't know. One of the surveillance videos says Villa.
Okay, all right.
So I don't know. I don't know where it could be from. But what the FBI wants me in, I think they want me on some kind of espionage charge.
Really?
For disclosing. Yeah, because there are CIA agents in that list that I let loose, and I don't know if espionage would stick because it was public information.
Right.
But I think they would try, sure.
Okay.
At least arrest me for it, and then I probably would never make it out of jail to trial. So
probably not. All right. Well, our next caller's on the line, Dr. Anita. Dr. Anita, how are you?
I am one busy girl, as normal.
Thank you for joining us. What's your question for John? You guys, and Muffin's at the door, so I can hear you, but I'm going to step away from the mic for a second.
Go ahead, John. First of all, what is it that triggered you to make this bold move? Because so many people just stay in their little lane and they follow the rules and they just do their job. They get their check and they stay in the rut and it becomes a grave. What is it that caused you to make those decisions?
I still don't know. Sometimes I wonder. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're so courageous." I don't know. Maybe I was just stupid. No, but seriously, I've never taken crap from anybody. Even look, you notice that I blink a lot. I have Tourette syndrome.
Yeah.
Growing up in high school and in middle school, it was awful. I'd always get in fights with bullies because of my blinking. And I just learned never to take crap from anybody, even if you're going to get beaten. And I think it's just a lesson that's kind of stuck with me. So, and I wasn't going to take this garbage from the sheriff's office. I wasn't going to let these guys run around and beat these helpless people. Because our job is to serve and protect. It's not to work for personal gain and to allow your colleagues to just go beating the crap out of people. So, and I just it just didn't resonate with me what they were doing, and I didn't appreciate it. I didn't appreciate the fact that it was making us all look bad. Even that a few guys were doing it, it made us all look bad out there. And the people. You run around doing that to a group of people in the small community, and of course they're not going to trust the police. Of course, they're always going to run from you, and they're never going to talk to you. So it doesn't do anything to help the situation. And that's why I decided to go forward with that. So.
Well, I have to say at this point that there's a lot of people who wish they had the boldness to do things like what you're doing. You can see that I I've stepped out of the norm of life a little bit, and I'm one of your unconventional medical professionals in the world.
Cool.
I don't take private anymore. I work with new innovations and also things that are going to enhance people's lives. And I see your story. I'm really glad that you have the courage. But for your children, you're going to teach your children, and you're teaching other people, and they can teach their children from your experience how to stand up. That it doesn't mean that you got to be, born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You don't have to have a lot of things. You just make a decision. And today, if you were in the United States, people are having to learn the lesson that you've already done. They're having to make some of these moral decisions because it's going to impact the generations to come. We're going to leave a legacy, and you're leaving a legacy, and someday your children will completely understand the blessing of what you did for standing for integrity, truth, at all cost. And as a parent, breaks my heart.
Breaks
to know
mine
you
too.
went through this. But I'm going to say this: the last chapter's already been written.
No, I don't know.
And I walk in the faith of the Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm going to say at this point, I don't know how this is all going to play out. And as hard as totally T and I are working at this point on many projects, you don't know who I am. I'm just a cowgirl from a northern country.
Cool.
And I went into medicine. I did everything unconventional that anyone ever thought I would do. And so I recognize you. And I was compelled to dial in tonight. And that's why I've got to have my glasses, because my eyes are exhausted from computer work today. So, thanks for your inspiration and helping others to, you've inspired people to aspire.
Thanks.
And like Red Pill does here, we got to have the right languaging and all those kind of things. And if you get with Red Pill, we may have some solutions for you to communicate in other ways. That, let's just say that people who need ultimate security is one of my specialties.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful.
By
All
the
right.
way, if you're into unconventional medicine or new technologies, you should really come to Russia. Look up the case of the angel baby that came here to get treatment in Krasnodar.
I work with people who do like angel airborne. Okay.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, I love that.
And so Red Pill can put you in contact, and I can we can have I have a way to contact anybody in any country.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great.
I'll be happy
So
to do that.
He can connect us.
All right, Dr. Anita, thank you for everything you're doing. I appreciate you calling in tonight.
Yeah, and it's a late one again. I'm coming in late.
Get some sleep. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye guys. Thanks.
Yep, bye-bye. All right. Yeah, definitely. I can put you in touch with her and Tony. Okay, so Liberty Thunder, thank you. Casey Anon, thank you. And again, you only looked at a handful of those videos, and it was grainy surveillance footage of people doing, apparent things with, what looked to be younger people.
6 of them were. The 7th was apparently some juvenile's bedroom where she was just being monitored.
Okay.
And where she's getting dressed. So.
Okay. All right. Liberty Thunder says, Chi-Chi and Muffin scared the shift out of me. I sometimes wish YouTube had instant replay in slow motion. Like, I'm sure somebody got that, and they're going to go ahead and make it.
Dude, you should keep that in the video. You really should, because it's really... Yeah, like your audience probably whoa, okay.
Yeah, it'll definitely stay. Yes, and then you have the reflexes of a puma. Let me tell you guys, I was trying to get them separated with my foot and then scoop up Muffin. Chi-Chi was the one farthest away from me, so it was gonna have to be Muffin, and she is a thick little girl. Linda Chastain says, one question for John. Is he able to talk with his children via Skype or other video, and how are they doing?
Yeah, sure.
God bless you and your family.
I talk to them. I haven't talked to them a lot lately because, I don't know. So 2 years ago, like 2 summers ago, I saved up enough money to buy them airplane tickets, passports, and visas to come visit me.
Okay.
And on the day of their flight, I got a message from my ex-wife saying that she wasn't bringing them. The day of their flight.
Wow.
They had believed all this time that they were coming to visit me.
That's
And
horrible. How
yeah,
old are they? How old are they, John?
now they're 11 and 13. Well,
Okay.
almost 11. Yeah.
All right. All right. So, you know, I mean, that's a long trip for kids to make, but I mean, it's not unheard of.
It's only 10 and a half hours.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but still, that's not okay. That's not okay that she would do that to you.
No.
Let's see. Thank you, Linda. Well, for all of you. Douglas McCarthy says, how bad is the food and how do the women look there? Well, we've established that the women are bountiful and plentiful. How about the food? How's the food in Russia?
The food's better, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
They don't allow the same chemicals in crap in their food here that they do in the United States.
So I know that they don't allow for genetically modified food. You're saying that the chemicals and stuff like that they would put into processed foods here, they don't have it in Russian food?
They do not have them. They're absolutely illegal. And like in the U.S., if the head of a company does something like, you remember the GM, the ignition thing?
Yes.
Where, dude, the company owner would be in jail here if they did something like that. They would be in prison. They don't play around with people's safety here.
Okay.
So, and you walk into McDonald's smells completely different here.
Really?
Because they don't allow the fillers in the food.
Okay.
So, and also I have a video. You should go to your it's called Capitalism in Russia. It's on my channel. I did it like maybe a month and a half ago.
Okay.
Where I bring you into a food market and you get to see all the produce. You've never seen anything like it in your life in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, never.
I'm looking forward to see if I can drop it into the chat for people. I'd like to check that out. I mean, that would be something to see. Oh, there we go. Is Russia capitalist or communist? Or communist or socialist? Okay, so I'll drop this into the chat for everybody. And share copy. All right, excellent. And here is the link, guys. All right, and then I need to say thank you to Denise. Deep fried and dipped in chocolate. Grasshoppers are delish. Don't ask, LOL. I assume that sounds like you tried it, Denise. Stephanie Oostven says, hey, Red Pill 78, animal issues? Welcome to my world. Yeah, I can only imagine having monkeys. Q-Wife Maga Life says, RP, even as a dog trainer, I first thought you were getting electrocuted. Thank you, John. Keep going. Much appreciation. Social Distancing Observer says, how much footage do you have? I mean, probably difficult to determine how many hours, but how many gigabytes of footage?
Well, there's 740 videos total, or 745, or somewhere around there.
Okay.
And I don't know how many hours. I never bothered to look. Even now, I still haven't actually looked. I just, they were categorized by year, and we just took 7 videos from some of the later years. But they go all the way back to 95.
Okay, so 1995 up until 2010?
No, 2005.
2005. Okay. All right. And Valerie Parakin, thank you for that. She says, how are we able to financially help you, Mark? If people want to support you, is there a way that they can?
Well, you can go to my website, badwolf.com.
Yep.
And I have a little donate thing. Usually when people donate to me, it goes to charity. But now that I'm unemployed, the charity is going to have to wait until I can get another job. So,
okay.
But if you go to badwolf, badvolf.com, you can donate, or on my Patreon account.
Okay. All right. And can they get to the Patreon through the website?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't see a link to it. But what are you listed at on Patreon? Is it your full name or is it Bad Wolf?
Bad Wolf, BADVOLF.
Okay, so Bad Wolf Patreon. We'll go ahead and you guys take note. And I just want to say, for anybody that was doubting your story, we never discussed, people donating to you or financially supporting you for you to do this program. And you're not receiving financial assistance from the Russian government or anything like that? I mean, like they're not paying you? You're not on their payroll?
No.
No, okay.
I wish I was. I mean,
it's a job.
I'd be a good investigator if they ever needed one.
Okay. Thank you again, Valerie. My buddy Crypto Beetle says, we need a super shareable video for the asleep that is not far right or far left or 217 that clearly uses prominent everyday people to show all what we know to be true and what's to come and why to stand up to make sure that the bad guys don't win. Where we go one, we go all, God bless. I can understand what you mean, Robert. It needs to be like a sleeper red pill, something that's going to be very easy and digestible for the normies to eat. Swallow.
Yeah. So I'm very politically neutral, actually.
Okay.
Lately, I have been really pissed off at the Democrats.
Sure.
But generally speaking, I'm politically neutral. So I've voted Democrats in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I'm generally an independent. But that being said, I don't think I'd ever vote Democrat again after everything that they've been doing. So,
yeah,
the video that I'm going to make is going to be very neutral.
Okay.
That I'll release on Monday. It's just going to be nothing but factual. It has nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans.
Okay.
And in fact, I say this in almost all of my videos that my stance, the topic isn't Democrat, Republican. It's just common sense.
Okay. Yeah. I'm conservative myself, but I mean, I, like most people, I've had a political journey throughout my life. I voted for Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, and now I would exclusively vote for Republican. But they have to be the right candidate. I'm not just going to vote for somebody because they say they're conservative. I need to make sure that they have an alignment of shared values. I really like saying that I'm a Trumplican because President Trump he's changing the country for the better. And
I love that guy.
Yes, he's incredible, and you can see that they're working to end the corruption, the endemic corruption that we have in the United States. And for many years when I was growing up, I remember my teachers almost pretending that corruption just didn't exist in this perfect society that we had. America was exempt from corruption, but it couldn't be farther from the truth. We've got our next caller on the line. It is a good friend of the program, Sweeta. Sweeta, what's going on?
Hi, Red Bull. Now, I don't really have a question today, but I've seen, now I'm a targeted individual of organized surveillance.
Okay.
Now, I have seen testimonies of others who are going through this in America and in the UK, who complained of in their absence, their pets have been, microchipped, which caused a lot of, them to become very aggressive and die later on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happened with your pets, but it's something I would like to just, bring to the attention that these things also have been done to some people. And if you think that it's these police stations that are, can't be held accountable for their actions, the intelligence agencies are far worse.
Absolutely. I would totally agree with you there. Although I am aware that stuff like that has happened, and I've certainly seen people who were being followed or monitored, something terrible happening to their pets being poisoned or, being murdered. But luckily the dogs are literally with me 24 hours a day.
I mean, that's a random event, but, but these things have happened with some people.
Yeah.
Now I've also sent an email again yesterday. Please do look into the playlist with interviews with Eric Karlstrom, Barry Trower, and Brian Corcoran, who's a whistleblower from SIS Seattle, and that is the company that has sort of developed the software for the monitoring program, and he mentioned that he doesn't know how the individuals are identified, the ones that get targeted, but most of them a lot of them tend to be PhDs. That's what he mentioned.
All right. I will definitely do that. I'm just, I am going to be following up with you just in the midst of doing the 2 shows a day. And I scheduled myself out a couple of months because I knew that it was going to be extremely busy doing the 2 shows a day. But I will definitely check it out. I'll try to watch at least a couple of those videos this weekend.
Right. Thanks a lot.
All right, Sweeta. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yep. Bye-bye. All right, great. And Cryptobeanal says, just tuning in, maybe I missed an explanation, but tell John to hit up Dr. Batar for his mild neurological issues I'm observing. He may or may not be aware. God bless you both. Where we go one, we go all. So, sometimes, people either, understand Tourette's or they don't. I mean, do you want to tell people what Tourette's is just so that they understand?
Yeah, so Tourette's is an overpopulation of neurons in your brain, and it just kind of makes you makes your brain. So most people with Tourette's are very smart. Mm-hmm. I think Mozart had it, but you think a lot faster, mm-hmm. which you wouldn't know by the way I talk.
Sure.
Because I'm always constantly pausing, because my brain's already ahead and I have to go back and figure out what I was trying to say again. Mm-hmm. So, but I tried medication for Tourette's, and mm-hmm. it just made my thinking very slow. And then once the medication wore off, I would just go crazy with blinking. So, and you know what? It doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. I don't mind it. I'm very happy with who I am, regardless of my Tourette's or not. So I don't need to look into anything. I don't care about the symptoms. I don't care about my blinking. And if anybody else has a problem with my blinking, that's their problem.
That's about them. That's right. Yeah, I tend to blink a lot. I have really long eyelashes, and they're constantly touching my glasses. So every single time I blink, it feels like I've got something stuck in them. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. Even if you were finding yourself screaming obscenities, I've seen many different cases of different levels of Tourette's. But it can be uncomfortable for people if they don't understand what it is, and I appreciate you opening up about it because, it really doesn't have any bearing one way or another on your story, what's going on. Casey Anon says, I don't understand why you are not watching the videos to see what you have, at the very least to learn how bad the deep state may want you to disappear. Is there a reason why you don't want to watch the videos?
Well, so initially, I forgot I even had them. Right? Because the Epstein stuff was over, and for years I never gave it another thought. I have not just for Epstein, not just for the billionaire, but I have documents and things relating to all sorts of different people from Palm Beach and other very prominent people in Palm Beach County. So it's not that I was interested in it, but I just never really had a reason to. The investigation was over. I was given the documents.
You weren't seeking to publish this information. You knew that you had a trove of information about a variety of different things.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. See, I think it might be difficult for people to understand because right now, obviously, Jeffrey in his case is, very, very big in the news. Or at least it was at a huge point, last summer when everything went down and he was found self-deleted, whatever, in his jail cell. So I think that maybe many people are thinking, well, gosh, if I had that information, I would have immediately done something with it. But it was kind of par for the course. It was kind of par for the course for you.
But here's the thing. You can't just release the information because you're releasing child porn, number one.
Yep.
Number two, look what happened to the lady that published the Panama Papers, right?
That's right.
She got murdered after she did it. So for me, this is a dead man switch. And the only reason I'm going to release one. Now, people should understand, I don't actually have all these videos in my possession anymore. The drive I sent to safekeeping in South Russia, it's encrypted. And I have 10 encrypted files, at least 10, that are on different servers around the world. And 10 other people that don't know anything about these files, they have the encryption keys. And then I've got 10 more people who know how to get the encryption keys and bring them to the proper files. So that's my dead man switch. And if something happens to me, then, then this stuff is all decrypted and released.
All right.
And it's the only way that I can make sure. I know it sounds selfish, and a lot of people will be like, well, that's selfish of him. But you know what? Look, I've lost absolutely everything in my life. I lost my house, my car, my job, my children. And the only thing I have left is, some time for my future where I hope I can see my children again. And I just want enough time where I do have that opportunity, because you have no idea how much it hurts waking up every day knowing that I didn't get that one last hug from my children.
Of course.
It
John, we just lost video. We just lost video on your end.
Okay, hold on.
So Stephanie Usvin asked if she's blocked from calling. Stephanie, you are definitely not blocked from calling. If you call one of those two numbers on the screen, and then when it asks for the meeting ID, it's 913-5385-2840, and then the password 999044. I'm just going to drop the password and the meeting ID into the chat. No one is blocked from calling. I don't even think that is... oh, shoot. Oh, my gosh. I put the wrong freaking information on the screen, you guys. Hold on just a second. That's why nobody's calling in, because I put the wrong password on there. Copy invitation. Sorry about that, guys.
Do I have video again?
Yes, we've got video. Okay. All right, guys. I am so sorry. Here's the correct meeting ID and password. There you go. Yeah, and Stephanie said it's not selfish. It's definitely not a selfish thing to make sure that you stay living. Have you ever considered approaching the Russian authorities or approaching anybody in authority in the United States to try to say, hey, this information exists. I'd like to bring it to somebody's attention?
The FBI knows. They have it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there's certain people in the FBI, but there's still got to be new people, people who are not compromised in the FBI. All right,
they have to report to somebody.
Yeah.
Look what happened with the Hillary email thing. FBI. They wanted.
Sorry, we had they just hung up. You guys, when you call in, just make sure that you mute your stream on the end, because then otherwise we'll get the feedback. But Cue the Music said, in Christian spiritual warfare, you need to be careful what comes in your eye gates and ear gates. What you're watching affects your soul. And that's very true. I mean, knowing what's on those tapes, I wouldn't want to subject myself to that. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to put myself in that situation. That would be terrible. Stephanie Ostvan says it's not selfish, and then Cue the Music corrected that. All right. So we've got Hogg, my buddy Hogg, my mod, calling in. He's going to be here in just a second. But I mean, all things aside at the FBI, have you ever considered approaching somebody in the Russian government, somebody who could take this information and perhaps get more done with it?
No, I never thought of it. I mean, Look, I have absolutely no contact with the Russian government at all.
All right.
People, everybody thinks I'm like, just because I speak well of Russia, I don't speak well of Russia because it's Russian propaganda. I speak well of Russia because it's nice here.
Okay.
And, people don't understand this. I've never had any contact with the Russian government except for the immigration department.
Okay. All right. Hogg, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for calling. What's your question for John?
Just a quick one. I think you missed it in the chat. I was just wondering the money transfer rate between U.S. dollar and whatever they're using in Russia.
So they have rubles here, and $1 is about 78 rubles. But everything's about equal, because if you go to Starbucks, for instance, and you buy a cup of coffee, it's 350 rubles, which is about $4.50. So,
gotcha. Just a different standard, basically.
Yeah.
Now there are things that are a lot cheaper here, like your phone service, like a mobile phone. I pay $10 a month.
Oh.
For unlimited?
Unlimited.
Okay.
My broadband internet. You know what? I'm probably the only person I know that can actually, when I do my live YouTube channels, I broadcast in 4K.
Oh, wow.
Because I have 300 kilobits upload and download. I'm sorry, megabits, upload and download, and it cost me $10 a month.
That's a really good price. I have a fiber line, so I'm 1 gig up and down, which is definitely unusual. Normally they cap you on the upload, but so I could be streaming in 4K and my computer can handle it. But I know that if I streamed in 4K, the audience, most computers wouldn't be able to handle it.
Most people aren't equipped with 4K.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but YouTube resamples for your audience's display.
Well, there's also even just rendering like a daily video in 4K, it would take a couple extra hours for me to export it. Like I'm on like this super strict time schedule. Like we get done with the show at 3 p.m. I got to have a video up by 6. I can't do it in anything other than 1080.
Get a computer with a Threadripper, man.
Threadripper.
Yeah, the AMD Threadripper. That's what I use.
That makes a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. I render 4K
awesome.
under real time.
Say that again.
I render 4K video in under real time.
Wow.
So like an hour of video, it takes me about 40 minutes to render, and I'm not even using the top of the line Threadripper.
That's pretty impressive. Well, I've been thinking about building another. See, I use Mac. Like this computer's a Mac. That's what I've been using for years. But I was thinking about.
Use it.
What's that?
I'll talk to you about it later. But you can still use the Mac OS.
Okay, sweet. Check it out.
Hackintosh.
Yep.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
All right, Hog. Anything else for John?
No, just a quick one, man.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling, buddy.
Hey,
Good
thanks,
to see you.
Man.
All right, take care, guys.
Peace.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Guys, I am so sorry. John, would you mind if we go just a couple extra minutes since I screwed up
go
on
ahead.
putting that on there? All right. We've got Clay coming up next. Clay's iPhone. And thank you to everybody who's participated. Thanks for the super chats tonight. Appreciate you guys. Clay, what's going on? We've got you on the air. Make sure your stream is muted in the background so we won't get the feedback. But what do you think is going to happen here? I mean, do you think that do things appear to be on the verge of opening up there in Russia? I mean, do you think you're going to be able to get work? Are you going to be able to survive?
I will always survive.
Okay.
So just a matter of surviving decently or surviving living in a sleeping bag. But it's hard for me to work in Russia because my asylum document gives me the right to work in Russia, but I can't get a tax ID number with it, so I can't really get paid in Russia. Whereas working in the U.S., I mean, anybody that Googles me is going to be like, oh, this guy's wanted by the government. So
right.
It's difficult to work in the U.S.,
Sure.
I was very lucky in having that other job that I had because the people there were, very conservative on the right, and, they know all about the deep state. And, so I was very lucky to have that job. But, now that the coronavirus thing is taken down, I mean, they've laid off 90% of their people.
Right. All right. Well, Clay, we're ready for you, buddy. Go ahead and unmute and welcome to the show. Let me see if I can do it. No.
Yeah, sure.
Mute. There
By
we
the
go.
way,
How's that?
Hey, yeah, we've got audio. How you doing,
There
Clay?
we go. Good. What were you going to say now?
Oh, I was just saying, welcome to the show. What's your question for John?
Oh, okay. Hey, John, you were talking about just a couple of different things in Russia, and I was wondering about medical. You were talking about the food, how they don't allow the food over there with all the chemicals in it. Let's say with the doctors and stuff, do they practice medicine to treat the individual, or do they just give you a bunch of pills? And when I was a kid, the doctor used to come in and he'd look at your eyes, he'd look at your fingers, and he would press on your fingertips to see what your blood flow was like. I don't see doctors practicing medicine anymore. With just pills?
No. So it's interesting.
Or they treat you?
They treat you. The doctor actually, you can go to a hospital, or the doctor will come to you, which was very it was fascinating for me the first time I had ever had a doctor come to my apartment. I was like, whoa, really?
It's very old school.
Yeah, it is old school, but this is what they do here. And they don't like giving pills here if they don't have to. In fact, the people here are so against pills that most of the time you don't actually need a prescription to go into the pharmacy. Like when I get my lisinopril for my high blood pressure medication, I just walk into the pharmacy. Or if I need like a Z-Pack, I just go into the pharmacy and get it. Because they know that most of the people here aren't going to be taking pills unless they have a reason for it. So, and don't even
I think it's going to go
it.
back to the old days where they used to mix up medicines for each person.
Oh, compounding.
You know, if you're when you're lacking certain minerals or whatever, and for different doses. But also, I was wondering about. I've noticed in the South that we don't have the chemtrails anymore. Have you ever noticed if they had chemtrails there? Oh, and vaccines. Do you know if they vaccine their kids?
They do vaccinate people here. In fact, it's strange because they use like an old style vaccine method here. Almost on every Russian person on their arm, you'll see like a dot. Hey, do you have that dot?
It's
my father had that too from the polio vaccine.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it.
Yep. So I mean, it's almost like it's a gun. It's almost like a vaccine.
Looks like a little dart. Like a little round circle about a penny.
Yeah. Well, they do that here.
They probably don't have as many vaccines as the mixtures, where it comes to like 60, I think now for kids. By the time they're 8 or 9, maybe younger, about 60 vaccines.
Really?
That they're like 4 or 5 in each shot. And we go to the doctor,
I didn't know that.
They'll have 3 syringes on the table, and they'll give the kid 3 injections, but in each injection there'll be 4 or 5 different vaccines within that mixture. That one shot.
Yeah.
But the chemtrails, did you ever notice chemtrails there? It stopped here.
But
about a year
airplanes
ago.
aren't allowed to fly over Moscow, so you don't ever see airplanes when you're in Moscow.
Do you know why that is, John? Is that a safety precaution or?
Yeah, it is a safety precaution. There are 3 airports in a triangular pattern around Moscow, and so like any place coming in from the south, they have to go to Domodedovo, and any airplanes coming from the east, anything from the east, they go to Domodedovo. Anything from Europe comes into Sheremetyevo or Vnukovo. So, they don't allow any aircraft to actually fly over Moscow within like 30 miles of it, actually.
Wow.
So,
that's pretty smart. I mean, they could immediately avoid any problems like we had in September. All right. Yeah. Well, Clay, thank you for your call, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Clay, good talking to you.
Hey, thank you. And I'm going to try. I'm the one who good talking with you. I'm going to try and get Ed Haslam on. So I'm going to try and contact him.
Please.
Red Pill.
Yeah, please do. Please do, Clay.
So keep an eye open for that.
All right.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too, brother. Take it easy.
Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. That's great. I was actually speaking with Judith Very Baker, my guest from last week. I was wondering if I could get an introduction to Ed Haslam. So that's awesome that I might have 2 people who could potentially help me out. All right. Next caller is Rich. Rich is going to come on the line. Brutus DM asked, has your guest ever considered the type of reception he would have received in China? I would imagine it would be quite a different reception in China than it would be in Russia. They're fairly xenophobic. You would stick out like a sore thumb in China. In Russia, at least you can blend in with the people, and there's a much better relationship between Russia and the United States. Did you give any thought of going to China?
If it didn't work out in Russia, I would have gone to China. But honestly, I love Russian people. Mm-hmm. They're so fun, and they have this quirky humor. Mm-hmm. And really, it fits my personality. Where I don't want to sound mean, but Chinese people, they're kind of uptight and conservative, and I don't really like their humor. Like our personality wouldn't really
mesh.
Yeah.
All right. Rich, you're on the air, buddy. Can you say hello to the audience?
Hey, Red Pill. How's it going, man? This is Rich. Same Rich that you've been emailing the last few times regarding web and stuff like that.
Good stuff, brother. How you been?
Doing pretty good.
Excellent.
How you doing, John?
Hey, good, Rich. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Actually, been following your story from Sean Atwood's channel for a while now.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, very cool, very interesting. I'm kind of curious, be it the state of America, the current administration. I mean, what do you think about Trump administration or someone within there considering a pardon or working with you in some facet? Have you ever considered that, or is that off the table?
Well, first of all, I'm wanted on 19 state charges of wiretapping, which is the audio recordings of that dirty cop. And a presidential pardon can't do anything for state charges. So even if he were to pardon me, I'd still be facing 95 years in prison. So
yeah, that's a tough one.
It just seems so ass backwards, and excuse my language, it just seems so backwards right now in a time where we have an administration that's at a record high of taking down people wrapped around this ring and people involved around with people like Epstein, that, someone like you, there can't be justice done. They can't wipe the slate clean and allow you access back into a country that, in my opinion, I think Red Pill and everyone else could probably agree that you're a true patriot for.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I got to tell you, you know what? My patriotism's waned a bit since I've left, and I'm speaking very honestly here. And if it weren't for the fact that my children were in the United States, I would never go back to the United States, even if they said, "You're welcome to come back." I just wouldn't. Wow. I like it here very much. The people here are fantastic, and it's absolutely nothing like what you hear about in the news. It's absolutely completely different. So
yeah, I believe you. I have close friends that are from.
Everything's illegal in the United States. There's over 30,000 pages of criminal law in the United States, and there's 156 pages of it here.
Wow.
I can jump on a dirt bike and ride through the center of Moscow and not worry about going to jail. I could jump on a horse, ride it down the Russian equivalent of I-95, and ride through the center of Moscow and not worry about going to jail. I mean, there's so much that you can do here that you can't do in the United States, where it's the lie that the United States is the land of the free and Russia is the land of oppression.
They've perverted our system.
Yeah, it's been my experience that it's exactly the opposite.
I have a question for you based on that. With people so unrestricted with the decisions they can make, are they smart in the way that they do things? Or do you see people, a higher degree of criminality because they can get away with it?
No, there's not a higher degree of criminality. I mean, because look, all the real crimes are still legal here. I mean, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. Mm-hmm. These things are like a moral code. And, I think if you were to abolish all the laws for every place, people would still abide by this moral code. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't have necessarily a spike in crime. Because people know that it's wrong to steal,
right?
And they're not focusing on the law that says, "Oh, I'll go to jail if I steal." They just know it's wrong to steal, and they don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to be clear. I was just playing devil's advocate. I just wanted to know what it was like, because I think that the more laws we have, the more likely it is, obviously, that someone's going to break a law, whether they understand it or not. It just happens that way. And I think that a lot of times you have people here in the United States that are punished unjustly. I would say that, it's complete BS for the fact that they're charging you with all that stuff. They're clearly just trying to throw the book at you. They want to make an example out of you. And
sure.
you know, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, I mean, when you look around, you know, just even in the last 4 years, what we've witnessed being done, the laws that they've clearly broken, people on the side of law and justice, supposedly, and nothing has happened yet. Not to say that I don't believe something will happen to them, but up until this point, we have yet to see justice prevail.
Well, you know, going back to the Hillary's email server again, anybody else who tried to get rid of that with like the contents with BleachBit and then broke cell phones with a hammer, they would have been charged with obstruction and tampering with evidence.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Absolutely.
It's a joke. It's insane. So, no, I can speak to Russians and how beautiful that country is. Some of the most patriotic Americans and just loyal to their family, their friends, are Russians. And I can speak to Florida. I'm from Indian River County. It's, you know, I've been pulled over. They found marijuana in my car that didn't exist. They've done everything to me.
Wow.
And that just seems to be the way Florida works, especially that southern area where you get to Broward, Indian River. It's just angry cops. I mean, they're so angry. And
you know,
you can see the corruption.
Florida, man. That's all over the U.S. You know how many people the Russian cops shot last year?
How many?
I'm going to say 0.
0.
That's a pretty good ratio.
Before that, they shot
I just watched
1.
a guy with a sword get shot 3 times yesterday. Some guy pulled a sword out on a cop. She shot him 3 times. And I thought to myself, you know, I get self-defense, but you can't pop one in the knee. You can't pop him in the foot. He's going to fall.
That's the first thing that I would think too. Yeah.
Go online and look at the video. Russian driver drives car through airport. This happened at Sheremetyevo Airport. If he was an American, he would have been shot dead by all the police that were chasing him. This guy's just crashing through the airport in his car, trying to find his girlfriend, and it's insane. But yeah, he would have been shot and killed in America.
Absolutely.
We're indoctrinated, man. From the video games to the stuff they put on TV. They teach young men like me who don't grow up with fatherly figures. They teach us to be angry. They teach us to look at death and like it's nothing. They desensitize us at such a young age.
Well, I mean, to that point, Rich, and you know, also back to your point, John, about you know, if they just repealed all laws. Unfortunately, with the degradation of our society here in America, I think unfortunately you would have a lot of people who, regardless of whatever moral code should exist, they would go ahead and break that. Because for many people, you know, with the destruction of the family, with the destruction of religion, taking prayer out of schools, you know, no one's teaching our children a moral code anymore. It's up to us as parents. And far too often, unfortunately, due to the nature of how this society works now, you've got both parents out of the home, people are working, you know, the television set is raising the child, the PlayStation 4 is raising the child, and you know, Rich is right. They're indoctrinating us.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yes. But the laws aren't stopping people because the people are still ending up in jail for it.
Yes, exactly.
So,
all right. Well, Rich,
and
thanks
what's it matter if you committed the crime or not? They just make it up and put you in jail.
Well,
anyways.
that's true.
That's the truth.
It doesn't matter anymore, right? So put Grand Theft Auto on, go kill and get learning, kids, or otherwise you're not going to be a great American, is what they try to make us these days.
Yep, and that's why we're trying to change things.
Yeah, thanks, Red Pill. Thanks for everything you do. Look forward to chatting with you, John. You're a hero, and I wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Everybody listening, man. This is just your great channel, Red Pill, and
thanks, brother.
What you're doing, man. It's awesome.
I appreciate you calling in. Yep, have a good night.
Yeah, no problem, man. Take care.
But you know what I was saying about the cops here in Russia is they are held to the exact same standard as every citizen. I have a friend who was drinking a beer at a park, and the Russian police came up and told him to pour it out and leave, and he didn't. He got belligerent, and the Russian cop went to grab his beer, and the guy started fighting with the cop. The cop grabbed his arm and smacked the beer out of his hand. That cop got fired.
Wow.
Got fired for it.
That's not what you would expect.
Yeah, well, you know, after the Soviet Union, they don't tolerate that kind of stuff anymore here.
All right. So American Eskimo Maniac wants to know, how did someone with Tourette's syndrome make it into the USMC and a sheriff's department? I mean, I think I understand the answer to that, but please go ahead.
Well, look, Tourette's doesn't affect anything I do. In fact, I'm so steady. Like when I'm focused, I don't blink at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the Marine Corps Rifle and Pistol team. I was one of the top 10 when I was on it. I've always been a competitive shooter. You know, when I'm focused, I don't blink. So it was strange. The entire time I was in the Marine Corps, I blinked very little.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that maybe if people are not familiar with the effects of Tourette's syndrome and the spectrum on which you can fall, I mean, it's not as if someone has a mental deficiency. The worst symptoms of a Tourette's patient that I've ever seen was someone, speaking profanities against their will.
That's only 0.5% of the cases.
Exactly.
You know, I never went to a doctor for it. I went to a psychologist when I was a kid, and they said, well, it's just nervous tics, blah, blah, blah. I actually never got a diagnosis for Tourette's until after I left the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm. And plus, I just want to show on your website here, here's a picture of you as a sheriff's deputy in Palm Beach County in 2007. It doesn't look like we've got any pictures of you in the Marine Corps. Actually, no, there is a picture of you in the Marine Corps right here, isn't there? You've got a big rocket launcher on your shoulder, it looks like.
Yeah, a Dragon missile system.
Dragon missile system. Okay, excellent. So just a little bit of sauce on your claims to who you are. All right, so we've got Bales on the line next. Let's see. Bales, are you there?
Yeah, g'day, mate. How you going?
What's up, brother? How you been?
Yeah, been really good, mate. G'day, JD. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Australian, yeah?
Yeah. That's right.
How did you guess that?
What's your what time is it there, man? It's like 11 a.m. right now?
No, it's 2:10 in the afternoon on Saturday.
2:10. Okay. All right. So you're in the future.
I wish I was there. I woke up at 4:30 to be on this broadcast. 4:30 a.m.
And I so appreciate you doing that, John. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm the same. I'm all over the shop to try and keep up with these guys. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to catch their shows. So,
yep.
Mate, John, thanks for what you're doing, mate.
Well, thank you.
Rich took a fair few of my questions there in relation to your path home, but you probably answered that question in, you feel like you don't want to come back, and I fully understand that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to come back. I want to see my family, but other than that, I mean, I have no reason to go back.
Yeah, I hear you, mate, and don't blame you at all. I see in the chat there, Red, a lot of people are saying about that, people getting shot and all these sort of things. A guy got shot 3 times with because a guy come at him with a sword, and they're saying, why don't you hit him in the knee? Why don't you hit him there? Being an ex-cop, you don't get taught to hit extremities.
That's right.
You get taught to hit center of scene mass, and because if you miss, you're dead with that sword. So
exactly.
Not all cops are bad. You've got some bad eggs over there. We've got bad eggs over here, but the majority of cops are there to help. So anyone in the audience saying that, it's garbage.
I completely agree with you, Bales. And that's correct. I'm glad that you brought that up. Obviously, I'm not a police officer, but I mean that's definitely what I've been told from other people. I mean, you are taught to shoot in the center. You're taught to take somebody down. I think that many people don't even know how they would react in a situation like that until they're in the midst of it. So it's very unfortunate, but I mean, you pull a sword out on a cop at a 7-Eleven, and I wouldn't expect any less, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, well, I've lived it. I've had a guy come at me with a knife, but I had a fence in between me, and the law is very specific. And when you go through that motion, you slow down. The adrenaline slows you down, and not only does the legislation from section in the criminal code go through your mind, every section, criminal cases that other cops that have been done for shooting someone and missing and getting someone behind that person.
Right.
You know, all that goes through your mind. That's how much time you actually have when it's only a split second.
Yeah.
The adrenaline takes in and you take control, and then you've got an accoutrement belt that's got other things around it, you know, like your pepper spray and your taser and all that sort of thing. So, and your baton. I ended up taking this guy down with a baton. So, you know, so the gun came out and was stop, but and he kept coming, but the legislation went through my mind as well. So that's why I didn't get why he didn't get killed.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad it turned out all right.
Me too.
All right.
But
well,
John, mate, thanks very much, mate, for what you're doing. And mate, I pray for you tonight, and you get to see your kids again. So I'll keep you in prayer, mate. You too, Red.
I appreciate it, Bales.
So
Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Good on you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. All right. Excellent. Let me just say thank you to Casey and An. How are they handling the Rona there? You said it's we've talked about it a little bit, but are there many cases in Russia? I mean, it's a much colder climate. I know it doesn't survive below a certain temperature.
Corona, yeah. I mean, look, I think there were a lot of underreported cases in the beginning, but now they're like testing everybody. There's a video of me getting tested. Actually, the first time I was tested, they actually came to my house and did it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
go ahead, continue.
Yeah, but I think it's underreported everywhere. I think there are so many people that have coronavirus and they don't know about it, that it makes the actual statistics, death to confirmed cases, it skews the statistics wildly. Right.
All right. Valerie Parakin says, I see on Mark's website he's doing some work with a Burisma whistleblower. Can you touch on that at all?
Yeah. So in January, I went on the contact, and I started hitting up people that work for Burisma. And I actually found one who's willing to talk, but only if I helped her and her family get out of Ukraine, which eventually I did. But it wasn't a very nice experience for her. She got caught and beaten up really badly, and
man, that's awful.
Yeah, and I got her to Russia, and but I haven't talked to her in a long time because this coronavirus thing that we're all quarantined.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, Stillwater Design is our next call, and you're on the line. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Good. Greetings.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. What's your question for John?
Several questions, actually. The first question is, when you went through your series of issues, did you physically harm any person, man or woman? And did you physically damage property that belongs to any man or woman or the United States?
What do you mean?
Exactly what I asked.
Yeah.
What issues are you talking about?
Well, you said that you were wanted in the United States for certain issues and things like that.
Oh yeah, no. I've never hurt anybody. Never took any money. Never damaged any property. No.
All right. Number one, do you know the power that you have because of what you just said?
No.
Doesn't
look like it.
Tell
us.
Well, the power of what you have, what you just said, the fact that it's called equity. When you're dealing with certain things such as man-made laws, there's always a remedy, always. So one of the recommendations that I would suggest that you do is look up the FASB. All right.
Okay.
Well, so is that a document or is that a statute or?
That's the Financial Accounting Standards Board.
Okay. I will take a note.
That's what everyone uses in court.
Okay.
All right. So the key elements of that you want to read is 125, 133, and 140.
Hold on. I'm writing this down. That's interesting. Say 120. I'll just watch the video again and I'll get it.
Okay. Now, number one, if you're in court, the number one thing that you want to do is understand that you have two people. You're yourself as a body, as a man, and you're yourself on paper. That is what is called the person.
Okay.
So there's an element of surprise that we all have twins. We've probably heard that as kids.
Yeah.
All right. So also Jesus had a twin, but that book was removed out of the Bible. So this way it kind of used us as pawns. All right. So everybody has a twin. You have your person that walks, talks, breathes, and flows blood. Then you have a person on paper that allows you to do business.
Is that the straw man?
I'm trying to avoid that because I don't want to come across as sovereign citizen.
No, of course. I'm just trying to, fit it together. But I mean, what you're saying is correct, and I definitely, Now.
Yeah, but you have to remember, this is like legal. We're dealing with people that don't follow the law. If I went to jail in Palm Beach County, and I wouldn't make it to trial. I honestly believe that I would not survive to make it until trial.
Okay, the question is, do you understand the law? Not as a law enforcement or a policy holder, but do you understand the law of equity?
No, I don't. I've never heard of this.
Okay, if you get an opportunity, or when you get the opportunity, Google the 20 maxims of equity.
Okay.
And once you get there, you begin to see you have remedy even in the situation that you're in.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Very interesting.
Now, the final thing I'll leave you with is just tidbits. Do you understand the purpose of a judge?
Sure.
What is the purpose?
Oh, the purpose of the judge is to make sure that any trial is fair and impartial.
No.
No. Okay.
That's what you'd think, right? That's what you'd think.
The purpose of a judge is accounts receivable.
Okay.
Do you know the purpose of a clerk of court?
The clerk of the court, they're the recorders of all the documents, no?
That's true. But the purpose of the clerk is, I have it written down here, is, actually I stand corrected. The purpose of the judge is accounts payable.
Okay.
And the purpose of the clerk is accounts receivable. So everything that you're dealing with, you said you have charges, correct? 19 charges?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of it along those lines as equity. The judge, he's only there to take money from your estate. The clerk is the one who administrates that account.
Okay.
Logically, think of it like that. Think of it as equity, and this goes for all the listeners. Think of it along those lines. You have your freedom in no time.
Okay.
Well, let's check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Stillwater, thanks for calling, brother. I appreciate it.
All right.
Peace. All right.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Okay. All right. And let me see. We're just going to take one more caller. I got to get these dogs outside. Snake Doc 067 says, "Hey, Red Pill, just wanted to say thanks for your sacrifice. Also Methods and others, where we go one, we go all. Thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to be here with you guys and to present this information." Douglas McCarthy says, "Can you get a handgun in Russia or any kind of gun in Russia?"
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Okay. All right. Nothing stopping you. Private Banker, thank you very much for that. Snake Doc 067, every cop that does not protect the oath of the Constitution that he swore to do is bad. That is, honestly, as true as it can get.
True.
EO2 Dave says, "Fantastic show, Red Pill. Good luck, John. Expatriates are in number for reasons. Sad to say." Absolutely. There is a reason for it. And we've got our final caller.
Expatriates are in number.
Go ahead and mute your stream, caller, so that we can get your audio. I'm going to unmute you right now. Oh, we're going to I need you to unmute the stream. Mute the stream, and then we can get you on here, and you can ask John the question. Well, listen, Before we get to the caller, I just want to say thank you so much to all honest law enforcement officials across the nation who are upholding their oath to the Constitution, to their oath to serve and protect. We really appreciate it. I mean, our country would be even more lawless and despicable than the lengths that it's gone to right now. It's these people who are upholding their oath to the Constitution that have been able to keep us together up until this point. And thank you to
and it's most of them. It really is most of them.
It is, yeah, definitely most.
Some of the bad ones that make everybody look bad.
Exactly. All right, let's try the caller one more time. Caller, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
Excellent. Who we speaking with?
You're speaking with
Stephanie?
the critter lady.
Stephanie.
The lady that makes your life hell. Every day when you do a show, I'm out there.
I love it, Stephanie.
Nice.
Don't worry. It's a good thing. I'm glad that you called in. I was wondering if you were going to make it. Okay, great.
Yeah, I've been here, okay? I had the hardest time getting on. But anyway, oh, God love you guys. Oh, and you know what? I was the one that told you that your number was wrong because I thought you blocked me.
Yes.
And you found out things weren't right.
I appreciate you letting me know. Yeah, definitely, Stephanie. And I am so sorry, guys. I apologize to anybody that tried to call in and was unable to. I copied and pasted the meeting ID and the password, and for whatever reason, it didn't work. I don't know. It's the deep state trying to stop us from doing this call-in.
Yeah.
And things happen. Anyway, my question for your guest is, I am so sorry. Is there any way your family can get to Russia?
Only if my ex-wife let them, and she never really gave me a valid explanation why she didn't come on the day that I bought her the plane tickets and the visas and the passports. She let me spend $5,000 that I spent 2 years saving to do it. And the day of their flight, she just sent me a message saying that they weren't coming. And
that's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And now she doesn't talk. Yeah.
Jacked up.
Lost audio for a second there, guys.
That is jacked up. I am so sorry to hear that. I'll pray for that because I can't understand why. Well, sometimes people do what they do when they're in domestic situations. So I am sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my kids, because they were so excited to come and see me, see their dad, and I was so excited to come to have them here. And she let them pack their bags and everything.
Wow.
And the morning that they woke up, she just, we're not going. I mean,
that's just
how
cruel.
awful.
That's so
what
cruel.
kind of evil?
Well, that's a little jacked up. I have to say that. But, my feeling is, actually, from what I've been hearing from this show, I want to go to Russia.
I would love to check Russia out. I mean, it sounds gorgeous. I've seen, beautiful cinematic views. The architecture is gorgeous. And, John's told me a lot about the people there. They sound wonderful.
Hey, you know what? You should actually come here for a week and just do your videos from here.
That would be pretty sweet. We
can do it in Red Square. We can do it at Bolshoi Theater. You can do your live videos from all sorts of places.
I would totally do it. I mean, that would be the best way to set it up. Just do a bunch of video vlogs from all around the best parts of Moscow. How cool. How cool.
That would be awesome.
Now, if I showed up there, Vladimir would either love me or he would, I don't know, he would probably kill me. I don't know.
Why?
Because I'm such a rectum. I'm a walking rectum. I would be like, why don't you have this in your place? Why don't you have that?
But the thing is, you can find way more here than you can there.
Yeah, well,
I think Stephanie's just being funny. She's
No, I want all the animals in the world in whatever location I'm at.
Stephanie,
that's how I am.
Stephanie, did you watch Tiger King?
No. He lives down the road from me.
Oh,
Am I going to watch that crap?
Oh my!
He wanted me to work with him.
Really?
Don't even get me there.
It's a good thing you didn't.
Don't
because
even get me there. It was all on chimpanzees. He wanted me to, he wanted me to raise chimps with him. Oh, don't even go with it. Oh, no.
It's a good thing you didn't because a lot of those people ended up in jail. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, you probably live something very close to that because it's all about different people with animals.
Like 20 minutes away from that jerk?
That's
yeah.
so crazy. That is so crazy. And just for the record, your name is not Carol Baskin.
No! Are you kidding? And I didn't feed... My husband's still alive. I didn't feed him to anyone.
All right. Well, Stephanie, thanks for your call. We're going to wrap it up. I appreciate you getting through.
Okay.
All right.
Have Sorry, a great guys.
Night. No, you're good.
I'll talk to y'all later.
We'll talk to you soon. Yeah. Bye-bye. Oh, great.
Bye.
It's a great way to end the show. Thank you guys for everybody for the call-ins. I love it. Yeah, yes, a Russian honeymoon sounds like a fine idea. We'll talk to Red Pill Girlfriend after the show. John, I want to give you the last word. What do you want to leave the audience with?
Nothing. Just, do what you think is right and keep a close eye on your government because they're going to do everything they can to swindle you.
All right. Well, we're working hard to end corruption through the efforts of this channel. And I think that my incredible audience is doing as much as they can too. Everyone here has their own unique part to play, and it's going to take all of us working together to get our country back and end this corruption. All right. I just want to say, if anybody wants to find John, you can go to the description of this video. You've got links to several different social media platforms. I believe there's a Facebook. I believe there's the website. There's the link to buy his book. There is the link to his YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe if you want to get first dibs on that blockbuster video that's going to be coming out on Monday. John, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And thanks again for waking up so early. You guys,
no problem.
We've got almost 3,000 people still here, just about 1.9 thousand likes. If you're still here and you haven't hit that like button, please do me a favor. Go ahead and hit it on your way out the door. And then when we're done here, go ahead and share this video because I think John's story is extremely important. I think we need to get it out. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you once again, John, and thank you to your girlfriend for putting up with us for the extra time.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Don't miss us tomorrow. We're going to be back at 9 p.m. Eastern time with Dr. Judy Mikovits, and I know you guys are going to want to see it. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good luck, and God bless.